All right, buckle up. In this video, I'm going to give you the #1 fantasy football draft strategy to help you guarantee a victory. Yes, that's a bold word, but I've got the cheat code right here specifically for 2025. Now, I see a ton of other videos, the sheep pudding videos, zero RB, all this stuff, hero RB, hero wide receiver. All that is garbage. Throw it out the window. This is the only video you need to watch. I'm ready to dive in. So what I'm going to do in this video is give you 3 tips that are significantly going to help you smash your leagues. And at the end, I'm going to give you some sleepers and some players I would actually implement in the draft strategy. So actual players you need to draft, optimal players that I include in my 16-round draft strategy. I'm going to give you guys some right here, right now. Dude, I'm so excited to dive in. I've got a simulation mock draft pulled up here. I'm so excited to dive into this and give you guys the truth. Okay, because again, there's a lot of garbage out there. If you are new to the channel, smash it, tap it, slap it, hit the thumbs up, and drop a comment below. Let me know what strategy you're going with, or if you like the strategy, or if this is making sense, because I'm the only one talking common sense. There's a lot of craziness out there. A lot of craziness. Last year, I went and looked back. I'm going to pull up a screenshot. I'm going to pull up a blurry screenshot here from a screenshot I had from last year from a mock draft. Take a look at the first 3 rounds. Okay, take a look at these 3 rounds. We've got a lot of garbage in here. Debo Samuel, Ayuk, as you can see, we're coming off in the early rounds. I told you to fade them. We have Tyreek Hill round 1. We got CMC first overall. You can see there's a lot of busts. Then DJ Moore coming up, who's coming off at the end of round 3. Then you had guys like Rashad White coming off round 4, which I didn't simulate here. But take a look at this mess last year. I looked at the first 3 rounds. There's approximately 15 busts. That's 1-5, guys, within the first 3 rounds. Like, how crazy is that? All right, you don't want this. And again, this year, there's going to be the same type of scenario where there's going to be a bust. And I know exactly who they are. If you want the full solution, principal cheat sheet, all the late round steals, all the sleepers, everything on a silver platter, make sure you grab the 16-round draft session. I've linked it below. The only one telling you the truth, the only one to tell you to fade CMC and go against the herd. You got to take chances. That's rule #1 here. I got 3 tips here, but you got to take chances. You got to not be afraid to go and leap, because in fantasy football, you cannot win by drafting on ranking or drafting on consensus. Just because a player is available there next on the ADP doesn't mean you just have to grab him because he's there. But you can grab the best player that's there, or reach a round or two earlier to get the player that you actually want, okay? So let's go through these tips here. Let's go through the actual #1 strategy on how to win this year. But make sure you guys do grab the 16-round draft because I lay it all out there for you with all the players, okay? So let's go into this. The first tip I want to give here is you need to go top-heavy running back. So I'm going to pull up the simulation here. As you can see, there is not a lot of running backs available when I pull up the running backs here to the left, and we're in the 5th round. I would not want, and again, a lot of people are going 0 RB. They're going wide receiver early, which I kind of get. They want to secure that ace wide receiver, but I'm here to tell you that there's a ton of great wide receivers later that are going to outperform some of these early round guys. We saw it last year. We saw it with Xavier Worthy having a good year. We saw it with Ladd McConkey. We saw it with Brian Thomas Jr. We see it all the time. Rookies breaking out, which we're going to get to in a second. But let's focus on the top heavy RB specifically for this year, okay? As you can see here, I went from the 6th spot. I went Genty, Kyron Williams, and Amari Hampton. All right? Not shy about it. All right? Now take a look at who's available at running back if I didn't go running back later, okay? I see round 5, we see David Montgomery, who's a wide receiver 2, who always gets hurt. We see DeAndre Swift, who absolutely sucks. We see Chuba Hubbard, who sucks. We see Aaron Jones, who sucks. Now, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, they're not going to fall to the 5th round. And in this simulation, it shows that they will. They're coming off round 4, just so you know. You're not going to get those guys. Believe me, I've done a ton of best ball. I've done a ton of other real drafts, high stakes. Travion Henderson and RJ Harvey are they're not falling to round 5. It's very unlikely. If they do, then you're drafting with a bunch of sheep, because those guys have a ton of upside, okay? So assuming they're not there, you got Pollard, you got Mixon, who's got a foot issue, you got Pacheco, who's safe. Caleb Johnson's like the only deal after round 5, because he could be a true workhorse right back. Other than that, it's a bit of a crapshoot. Now, I like other sleepers here, which again, I lay out in the 60 rounds. I'll give you guys a couple at the end, but as you can see, you don't want to wait. So let's take a look here. This person went 0 RB. He went Malik. He went Jackson Smith. He went Trey McBride. Then Kenneth Walker's is 1. Kenneth Walker's already dealing with issues. I just posted it on my story mode today. He's dealing with issues. Let me tell you what the issue is exactly. But it's not a running back I trust. Kenneth Walker missed practice Saturday, August 2nd due to some minor soreness in the foot. Now, I know it sounds like minor soreness, but I owned him. I was the one who had him on my fantasy team in his rookie year. And then he went to the sideline. It was a non-contact injury. I was pissed that year when he missed time. And I'm like, dude, get back on the field. And I shouted him out on social media and he blocked me. Good riddance. Because at the end of the day, man, like, I really don't care. I called him out. You should have been on the field. So since then, I just don't trust him. So specifically for this year, I understand there's a lot of good rookies coming in. Scatterbo, Caleb Johnson, Harvey Henderson. Do you want to mix in a wide receiver in the first 3 picks? You could do that, no problem. The point I'm trying to make is you need to go top-heavy running back. You need to at least make sure that you have 1 or 2 running backs within the first 3 picks that are going to be workhorses. A Kyron Williams, a Bucky Irving, a Chase Brown is in a good situation, a Jan, a Gibbs. You need 2 of these running backs within the first 3 picks. I cannot express to you how important it is. And some people say, well, no, Joe, you don't need to go running back early. You don't need to do that because you could get a bunch of running backs later and the position gets hurt a lot. That's the worst excuse. Anyone that tells you to go 0 RB, meaning avoid running backs, and telling you the reason to do that is because running backs get hurt, has got to be brainless. I'm going to keep this PG-13. I'm not going to say any bad words, okay? Because the main industry does this. And I hate to do this, but I was watching some podcasts just to see what other advice are out there, and it's terrible. What kind of excuse is that? That's all the more reason to get running backs. If they get hurt a lot, you need to load up top heavy so you have depth at the most scarce position. The last thing you want is an injury, and then you have your RB1 be a guy that's going to be in a shared timeshare. At least if you go top heavy and get 3 workhorses that are going to be the alphas, if one goes down, you still have 2 workhorses that are going to get 300 plus attempts. That's the goal. It's the most scarce position. And believe me when I tell you there's wide receivers later, okay? So let's get back to the strategy. Go top heavy, running back early. Very, very important. I implore you, do not sleep on this one very important tip. This is just by doing this, you're going to get a massive edge. Now, some people say, well, super flex, Joe, I don't care. Go running back early. Steal all the running backs. Take them off the board. Don't give them to the opponents. Go 5 running backs. I don't care. Okay? Get Harvey, get Henderson, get Caleb, get Omarion. Get them all on your team. Get these guys that are in solid positions on your team, because here's the thing. While they got a quarterback or they may get a wide receiver, they're going to be scrambling to get running backs later. And guess who they're going to end up with? Here's the fun part, guys. This is where it gets exciting. They're going to end up with a Jalen Warren or a Javonte Williams or a Charbonnet or a Najee or a Spears, guys that are suspect, could have some big games, could possibly break out, but a lot of question marks, okay? You don't want David Montgomery to be your RB1. You just don't, all right? Especially when I'm hearing now that Gibbs is going to be getting more work and people are still comfortable with David Montgomery as their 1. You guys are nuts. Don't do it, okay? So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, this is very, very important. I want to talk about this, and I really want to hammer this point home, okay? And some people say, well, Joe, you love rookies too much. Listen to this. The tip is don't sleep on rookies, okay? Here's the deal. Here's why. Let's talk about rookies. Last year's particularly, Xavier Worthy had a good year. Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey. Oh, Joe, that's only 3. How about Brock Bowers, right? How about Jaden Daniels? How about the year before with Sam Laporta? Right? These rookies break out and they make impact, but it's not just rookies, it's the right rookies, which I lay out in the 16 rounds. Now, again, I'm going to give you 1 or 2 here at the end of the show, as I promised. We're talking sleepers, okay? A couple at the end. But so many people are sleeping on rookies simply for one reason, because they're rookies. And the fact of the matter is these rookies, example, Ladd McConkey last year, is now coming off, guys, as you can see, at round 2 to 3. Particularly round 2. He kind of fell to 3 here, which was a mistake. But again, this simulation is a little bit off. Brian Thomas coming off round 1 to 2. These guys were coming off round 7 to 9 last year. And I told you in the 16 round draft, switches to draft everywhere. That's a good example. Brock Bowers, who's going to decline this year, is coming off round 2. Here he's showing in round 3. Again, he comes off typically earlier. So people saying, don't draft rookies. How do you trust rookies? It's about the right rookies in the right situation. So what I'm telling you is that some people are afraid. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to get those wide receiver rookies. Guys, here's one for you right now. Emeka Egbuka, tearing up training camp. Absolutely tearing it up. We don't know the situation with Godwin. Godwin always gets hurt. there's a rookie for you that could easily surpass some of these guys. He could easily surpass Ladd McConkey because Ladd McConkey's in a similar situation. They have to Trey Harris. They got Lambert Smith, who's kind of stepping up. They're flirting with Keenan Allen. They got Gaddiston. They've got a lot of different options there, okay? And it's not the same situation for Ladd McConkey, so decline's imminent, but this is not a bust show. This is a show on full strategy. So we're talking the number one strategy. The number one strategy is that you need to stack a bunch of rookies, not all rookies, right? You need to have balance, but you need to make sure that the rookies that you're getting are in a great position. Guys like Genty in a great position. Guys like Amari Hampton, great situation. Guys like RJ Harvey, great situation. Guys like Trey Harris, great situation. I can go on, okay? You need to not be shy with rookies, but again, it's the right ones. And I lay that out in 60 rounds, how to balance your roster. So you have a balance of veterans, high experience volume players, and then also rookies that are in a great position to succeed. Drafting them at the right ADP where you're maximizing it, okay? You don't want to overpay, all right? Very, very important. Let's keep going here. Tip number 3, and then I'm going to wrap this up, give you guys some tips. Wait on tight end. Now, speaking of tight ends, we got a tight end coming on the show tomorrow. You don't want to miss the episode. Make sure you guys turn on the bell. Big time tight end sleeper on the show tomorrow. But here's why you need to wait on tight end. Okay, let me give you guys a quick example here. So I'm going to pull up, you can see the simulation here. Now, you got these early round tight ends, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, George Kittle. Good players last year. Brock is in an entirely new situation with an entirely new quarterback, with an entirely new offense. You got Genty, you got Thornton, who's been stepping up. You got Beck, you got Myers, you got Tucker. You got a totally different situation. Mind you, I think he's still going to have some big games, but he will not see the volume that he saw last year. It's impossible. It mathematically does not make sense. Trey McBride, still in a good situation, but I think Marvin Harrison steps up. When you look at guys like this, right, coming off round 2 to 3, and that's where typically McBride and Bowers come off. Again, they kind of fell here. But let's say round 2 to 3, and even Kittle comes off round 3, but I see him fall to round 4 here. So you got Kittle, McBride, and Bowers, all right? Great players, but you got to understand that declines happen. Kittle was doing well on an offense there. Everybody was hurt. There was no CMC. There was no Pearsall. Pearsall's been doing well in training camp. You got CMC healthy, more checkdowns. Who knows what else is happening with the other wide receivers, but other guys have to step up. But that entire offense was banged up. So it's like, okay, Kittle benefited, right? Bowers benefited just from situations, right? The situation was optimal. But I'm telling you guys, when you look at some of the tight ends here, particularly some rookie tight ends, going back to the other tip, there is some great value here, including guys like Tyler Warren, who's been absolutely tearing up training camp, and they don't have a wide receiver one. They don't have a wide receiver. Michael Pittman's already banged up. Josh Downs sucks. Alec Pearson, a contract year, mainly just kind of a deep threat, one shot done. But, Tyler Warren's in such a great position where the team invested high draft capital in him, and they're going to use him. Does that make sense to you guys, okay? So you can wait. I'm getting him. If you want to secure him, I go round 7. But I'm hearing people are DMing me saying they got him in round 10. So tight ends are completely slept on. They'll go Ingram, who's kind of in a crowded situation there with Denver, right? Could be good, but they got Bryant, they got Veely, they got Cortland Sutton, who just signed a big contract. They got RJ Harvey out of the backfield. Just a lot of mouths to feed there, right? So whereas you look at a guy like Warren, it's like, they're going to lean on him. They're going to lean on a guy that's reliable, a big target, strong, ability to catch the ball. There was a video posted on Instagram. If you're not following Instagram, follow there, turn on the bell, because I'm posting news in there, where he leaped up, caught a ball that was out of his vicinity, out of his area, that Daniel Jones threw to him. So, I like it. I like the situation. Loveland, a great talent. Mind you, there's a lot of mouths to feed in Chicago. I'm a little more into Tyler Warren than I am into Loveland, right? So let me just recap this for you. Let's talk real quickly here about strategy. Here's what you need to do, all right? Let's go over this. Very, very simple. How do I win? What do I do here? Let me just shut the ticker off here. Make sure you guys do grab the 16 rounds. Let's recap. What's the number one strategy? You need to have a balanced roster, okay? Like there isn't just one particular strategy. You got to have to implement it in the right way so your roster is balanced, but perfectly balanced. That's why I created 60 rounds. Nobody's giving this advice because I want to make sure you're not just drafting on ADP or consensus or draft kits. You're actually drafting based on optimal roster. I've done all the research, right? So you want to aim high on the depth chart, right? You want to load up on top end running backs. You don't want to draft a wide receiver 2 in round 2. Right? A T. Higgins round 2. You just don't want to do that. You want to be aiming high on the depth chart and loading up top heavy on running backs because it's a scarce position. By doing so, you're able to look at some rookie wide receivers later Guys like, here's a couple for you. Mika Ibuka, Trey Harris, for example, even Higgins from Houston. There's another sleeper for you. If you stash 2 or 3 of these guys, at least 1 or 2 are going to hit. If you stash 5 of them, okay? I'm not saying all rookies, you can blend it in. Now, as you can see in that simulation, I had Cortland Sutton round 4 because I'm balancing it out, putting in a receiver there. Calvin Ridley, another great value. So you're able to balance it out. Then you could wait on tight end, get a sleeper like Warren. Some people say he's not a sleeper. Dude, he's outside the top 20 amongst tight ends, and he's going to finish top. He's going to finish ahead of Brock Bowers potentially is Warren, and he's ranked like 20th. Like, are you nuts? He's in such a great situation. Now, I'm not saying just Warren. You want to get a backup, a guy that's going to be coming on our show maybe tomorrow. Maybe you want to grab him. So what you need to do is not listen to the sheep. I cannot express this enough. You want to have a balanced roster. Don't sleep on rookies. Wait on tight end, because by waiting on tight end, you're going to hit. If you grab some of these upside tight end later, you're going to hit on them, and you don't have to invest that early draft capital on a tight end that we know is going to decline like a Bowers. You're loading up on a running back in that position instead, a workhorse running back that's going to be scarce later, okay? And these rookies, and not just wide receivers, but other positions, like example, Cam Ward. He's out there threading the needle in training camp, and people are sleeping on him. He's like quarterback 26, completely being slept on, right? And you can get him as a backup with major upside, okay? So those are 3 league-winning tips for you that are really just by implementing these 3 things, aiming high in the depth chart while doing it, because you're always looking for the target getter, the alpha. You're looking at the depth chart saying, what's moving, what's shaking? Has Michael Pittman wowed us? Okay, well, Michael Pittman hasn't wowed us. They drafted Warren with high draft capital with their first pick, like round 1. All right, he's doing well in camp. Pittman's already hurt. They don't have a true alpha there. Big, reliable target. You got to look at the scenarios, guys. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to draft this guy because he's next on ADP. Like, that is sheep herd mentality. That's not how you're going to win. So if you learn nothing from this video, don't follow the herd. If you learn nothing from this video, aim high in depth chart, get the volume getter, study those depth charts, go to the team. Who's in the pecking order? Who's emerging? Example, let's take a look at the Raiders. Jacoby Myers isn't a true one. How do I know that? He is a Christian Kirk type player. Last year, I looked at him like Christian Kirk is ranked ahead of Brian Thomas. I'm like, dude, that doesn't make sense. Use logic, use common sense, okay? And that's how you win your league. All these people telling you they got to go 0 RB, load up on these wide receivers, get running back later because that position gets so scarce. That position gets hurt a lot, and you don't need running backs. You'll be fine with a Montgomery and Swift, and you can get a rookie. No. You still need those workhorses. You need them early. Last year, I had Henry and Saquon. Saquon, Henry, back-to-back. Crushed my league. Josh Allen anchored my team with an ace quarterback. There's another tip for you. So lay it out, guys. And this is the formula for this year. Because if you go wide receiver early, you're screwed. You're in trouble, okay? Because your running backs are going to get thin, and you're going to be looking at wide receivers like Emeka. Again, Emeka, I'm just using him as an example, right? There's other wide receivers I like. You're going to be looking at him and be like, man, I could have just got Emeka and a couple other wide receivers. There's a Calvin Ridley sitting there around 6 to 7. Oh my God, he's a wide receiver. I could have got him later. And now I've missed out on all these good running backs. They're gone. They're gone. They're gone. You're going to be looking at like bottom feeders. Like you'll be upset. Okay. So hopefully this makes sense to you. And it's all about common sense ain't that common anymore in life and in fantasy football. I'm bringing that back here. I mean, really trying to hammer it while I'm fighting against the grain because everyone else is teaching a system that's not helping people, all right? So subscribe, thumbs up, grab 16 yards. I'm telling you, you'll be very, very happy with the system. I've linked it below. You get a printable cheat sheet, update till the season starts. I just did an update recently. You'll be wowed. And turn on the bell. We got another NFL player coming on. If you missed it, we had Dante Thornton on. We had Pat Bryant on the show. The only channel giving you NFL players as well. So that's huge. So support the channel, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Big time advice here that no one else is feeding you, okay? Subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. I'm out.